Hi there, my name's James Gribben. I'm a solicitor in the international private client team with Winkworth Sherwood, and I'll be taking you through some of the key and main points from this year's budget and how they affect young entrepreneurs and professionals. I think that they can draw a lot of positives from it. It's clear that the government sees UK businesses being at the very centre of the economic recovery from the pandemic. Rather than making a series of tax hikes across the board, the government to cover the government's substantial deficit, as many had predicted, they've rather opted to provide initial support and initial incentives to boost businesses, encourage investment, and bring in talent from overseas before then implementing a corporation tax increase in a couple of years' time. Yes, so it's important to remember that we're not only dealing with the recovery from the pandemic, but we're also entering a new and very uncertain market following the UK's departure from the bloc. The government's very keen in that case to keep production and developments and technology within our shores in an attempt to assert that the UK remains and will continue to thrive as an important place to do business. So companies will be incentivized to invest in plant and machinery by temporarily allowing for increased reliefs on this expenditure. So from 1st of April until the 31st of March 2023, the new super deduction will cut companies' tax bill by 25p for every pound they invest in this new equipment for these qualifying purchases, amongst some other reliefs as well. So this is said to be worth around £25 billion to UK companies over just this 2-year period. These incentives are designed to stimulate business investment by offering higher rates and relief than we've seen before on these expenditures. The government also sees technology as an important industry for the UK as part of this Build Back Better initiative, where technology is central, but also carbon neutral solutions and combating climate change through the economic recovery and yes, building back better. So in terms of technology, they've unveiled visa reforms to attract top talent, including a new unsponsored points-based visa for science, research, and technology workers. They also plan on establishing essentially a marketing initiative, a global outreach strategy called the Global Entrepreneur Program, which is essentially marketing the UK's offering and exploring how to build this overseas talent network and bring in that talent from overseas in the fallout from Brexit. So it's clear from these initiatives that I've just gone over here that the government wishes to establish London and also the UK more generally as a tech startup hub to combat the lure of these main competing cities that we've seen trying to attract that kind of talent post Brexit, such as Amsterdam and Lisbon. There are a number of initiatives being strengthened and also put in place to boost investment. So these include the Future Fund Breakthrough, which is a £375 million fund that will invest in highly innovative companies. So these are essentially companies that are focused on life sciences, quantum computing, and clean tech that are aiming to raise at least £20 million in funding. Now, for smaller businesses than these, for small and medium enterprises, as they're called, SMEs, there's a scheme called the Help to Grow scheme, which has got both a digital arm and a management arm. Now, this is going to be aimed at offered to up to 130,000 companies across the UK. The management part of it, the management arm of it, will deliver practical case studies and mentoring from experienced business professionals to 30,000 of these companies. So that's through essentially online courses and programs. Then the digital program will be offered to a higher number of companies, 100,000 of them, and this comprises of a voucher of up to half the cost of pre-approved digital solutions, so up to the value of £5,000. And with that comes free online classes and advice for implementing those digital solutions and implementing that technology. Yes, well, the government being quite transparent in the budget about the approach. They're envisaging a quick and strong recovery over the next 2 years as we come out of the lockdown and build back and recover. So this will be supported by the reliefs and incentives that I just covered amongst many others. There's a lot of information in there. So they're looking to get these businesses back on their feet, or at least their knees, when they've been completely floored by the pandemic. And I quote, "Once economic recovery is durably underway, public finances must be returned to a sustainable path." So we would have been very naive to think that there wouldn't have been any tax increases following a period of record peacetime borrowing. In fact, many had predicted much worse in terms of tax hikes. So it's this balance between encouraging business and growth in the fallout from the pandemic and from the fallout from Brexit, whilst also having to recover the deficit. So it's a difficult balance to strike. So in April 2023, the corporation tax rate will go up from 19% to 25%, which is the first time we've seen an increase in this tax since the 1970s. It's important to point out that this higher rate of 25% will just apply to businesses with profits over £250,000. So whilst many businesses have struggled and even failed, unfortunately, through this pandemic, many have also done extremely well, particularly those with an online presence. So it's these businesses which the Chancellor is trying to target with that larger tax rate, so targeting the larger profitable trading companies. So the companies with what are considered small profits, so that's 50,000 or less, which will likely include new businesses being started up over the next couple of years, and startups. They'll continue to pay the 19% tax rate, so there's no change there. So, and then businesses between these two rates, between these two thresholds of £50,000 and £250,000, the rate will be tapered between 19% and going up to 25%. In many ways, no news was good news for the taxes other than corporation tax. There was significant speculation that CGT rates would be increased even so high as to match income tax rates, which would have been a drastic change. CGTs paid by entrepreneurs where they sell when they sell their businesses or other assets, and any increases above the current 20% rate could have been seen as a move that would certainly hinder the scale-up ambition of UK entrepreneurs, and also dissuade entrepreneurs and talent from coming to our shores. Also, the current research and development tax credit that is available to small and medium enterprises will be capped at £20,000, amongst some concern that this initiative has always been getting abused. However, as a signal of good intent in this area, a consultation is going to be run on R&D generally until the 21st of June 2021, which suggests positive steps that the government is making towards making R&D more robust and ultimately more competitive. And finally, the enterprise management incentive, the EMI scheme, is to be reviewed with a possible extension of this scheme to support more and a wider class of high growth companies. So this could also represent a useful tool for businesses wishing to recruit, retain, and incentivize key employees. So thank you very much for listening today. There's much more information in the budget there, and much more that's still relevant to young entrepreneurs, young business people, and those looking to start businesses over the next couple of years. So do get in touch if you have any questions over anything which I've covered in the last 10 minutes or so, or if there's anything which otherwise interests you in this area, please do get in contact. Thank you very much.